Hi, it's Jane with Scraptastic Yarns. I do have a finished whip today. I still have a lot more that I need to be doing. I have not done anything on the knitting project whatsoever. I have been rather busy doing other things in the house with that Swedish death cleaning. You know, that seems to have taken precedence over everything because I just want to get the stuff out of the house. But as you know, I was making the pillowcase for the afghan that I made using Creative Grandma's Winter in the Woods pattern. And so the pillowcase is finished mostly. I did put a flap on the back here, and I do plan on finding some buttons to go along the back. I am choosing to use wood or possibly coconut, depending, because I want the buttons fairly large, just to go across the back. The whole idea of that was, you know, so that in the spring, summer months I could have that still out in the living room and use it more or less like a pillow to lean against or something. I don't know. Haven't really decided yet. The house is going well, although I did choose a flooring that my contractor is not happy with because it is a thinner flooring than what he normally uses. Same brand. So he asked me to go look at the other flooring again, and I told him I did, and I didn't like what I saw. What I chose is what I want. Both of them have a 25-year guarantee. You know, I understand he's thinking about the long run, but I want the flooring I want. So, and then we had, a couple of issues. You know, he was really worried about the stone that I chose for the fireplace. Even though he uses that stone all the time for most of the fireplaces he puts in, it is a stacked, they're really veneers. They're not really stone. They are manufactured stones. And I had chosen the color Sequoia because it kind of went with the flooring, went with everything that I had chosen to go into the living room and the sunroom. So he was like, well, I don't think that's available here. I said, well, it says it's available nationwide. I've already checked with the people. They tell me it's not a problem to get it in. So, a couple of issues. I don't know, what the deal is with him lately. I think he's trying to think of me in the long run. But you know what you want. That's what I want. I have still slowly been working on the sweater that I was choosing to knit. And it is that Everyday Cozy Knit Sweater by Hard Hook and Home. Not positive if that's who is the designer, but I will leave that link down below a little bit later. I do have some things that have been going on as far as cleaning out this house with that Swedish death cleaning business. You know, you think you don't have that much stuff, then you find out you have so much stuff you can't hardly get through it all as fast as you'd like to go through it. But I am getting things slowly to people that would want them. Other than that, the other things are just going off, to places like Goodwill or what I always call the salivating army, and or friends who have asked for certain things. I have no problem with giving those away to those friends. So that is basically where I am at right now as far as the house. We did choose patio stone for the patio, and I believe the lights are up on the outside of the house. I haven't been over in about a week, so I do need to go over and film again. I do know that they put the insulation on the outside walls, and they're putting up the drywall on the insides. So there we go. And I think I've found the paint that I want. for the house. So, should be interesting as we continue along this journey. There are a lot of us February birthday podcasters, so I want to wish every one of you happy birthday. And I did want to tell you that Dana of Dana's Wanderlust Crochet is going to hold another Yarny Social Midwest in, I think, Boise, Idaho. Now, I believe that is in August. I'll leave that information down below and a link to her Facebook channel so that if you're interested in going, I am really looking forward to going and to finally meeting Dana face to face, as well as some of the other ladies there, gentlemen, whoever. But there's a bonus in there for me. I am going to get to see my grandson as well. He is 21 going on 22. I have not seen him in probably about 12 years. So, face to face. We've done the FaceTime and the Zoom, the messenger face to face. But I'm looking forward to be able to get my hands on him and give him a good hug. So, yeah. Those are some of the things that are coming up. The cruise is in May. The hookers on the high sea. I believe that Billy has said there are still some openings that if you are interested, you could still get in on. So I hope if you are interested that you will join us. Okay, that's it. Lately I've been watching a lot of you that are doing that crochet chain challenge, to see how many you can do in, I think it's a minute. I've done that before and got 150. I'm not going to bore you with a video of it. Because why? So, yeah, that's kind of where things stand today. I do have some projects I wanted to get started. With the Prayer Shawl Ministry, we have started working with a group called Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Sleep in Heavenly Peace is basically an organization that builds beds for children who do not have beds. And I believe the statistics in your own community, I believe they're like 2 to 3% of the children in your community of your school districts do not own a bed to sleep in. And for our district, that came up to I believe about 750 beds. So that's a lot of beds to make. But Prayer Shawl is partnering up with them to make twin-size blankets. So that has been rather interesting to get those done and sorted, counted, and put away somewhere in the church itself. All right, that is it for what's going on in my life today. I don't have any shout-outs for this week. There will be shout-outs for the following week, so look for those. But let's get on to what in Tarnation. Owls are a funny creature. When they move in, it's hard to get rid of them at times, and this owl was no exception. Owl evicted after shutting down Georgia College Library for days. A trespassing owl that prompted a Georgia college to close its library for multiple days was successfully evicted from the building last Friday. Officials with the Agnes Scott College's McGain Library in Decatur said the owl flew down the chimney Monday afternoon, prompting officials to close the facility to students. The owl ended up perching in the rafters about 3 stories up out of the reach of library staff. The library was able to open its ground floor on Thursday, but the owl remained on its perch. Stuart Farron, a master falconer brought in by the library to help handle the situation, used a hydraulic lift Friday afternoon to reach the owl about 50 feet above the floor. He was able to capture the owl in a net and release it outside, where it promptly flew away. The owl seemed perfectly fine and was released on campus as students cheered. Elizabeth Bagley, the school's director of library services, told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, "Hopefully he's off hunting somewhere for a field mouse." Now I hope you watched the video. The video is rather entertaining. One of the students was sitting there studying when the owl flew and landed right next to her, and it shocked her. If you've never had an owl fly at you, it's a very interesting experience. Thomas and I have been in the woods when it's getting close to dark and had owls fly at us. You don't necessarily see the owl, but you feel the brush of their wings as they fly past you, and you also hear that silent whoosh. So it's an interesting experience. And pay attention to the notes that were left on the library doors. You know, things like closed till feather announcements. All right. This next one is awful cute. A baby goat born with a spinal condition is learning to run with wheels. A baby goat brought to a Georgia sanctuary with a spinal disease is learning to run for the first time in her life thanks to a custom-made set of wheels. TMMA Farms and Sanctuary in Walton County said the goat named Itty Bitty was born on December 2022 with a spinal disease similar to spina bifida, characterized by the spinal cord failing to properly develop while in the womb. Veterinarians determined surgery would not help Itty Bitty, and the goat was brought to the sanctuary by an animal lover who had been bottle feeding the kid since birth. Caretakers said Itty Bitty's condition prevents her from using her back legs, so she was initially getting around by scooting on her bottom. Itty Bitty is now learning to walk and run for the first time in her life after the sanctuary had outfitted her with a pair of wheels. Sanctuary said she was running on her own within 24 hours of using her new wheels, and there is a lot of TikTok video about this. I did link to the very first one showing her out in the field while you hear the song Itty Bitty being played in the background. Now we have another set of goats. Goats are on the loose, apparently. Loose goats wander into Target store in Texas. A pair of loose goats wandered into a Target store in Texas and spent some time browsing before being wrangled by the police. The Harris County Precinct No. 4 Constable's Office said a deputy responded to the Target store on Cypress Wood Drive on Spring on a report of two goats loose inside the store. The deputy was able to wrangle the goats and turn them over to Harris County Animal Livestock. The origin of the goats were unclear. Several people commented under that. I think it's Twitter post. It may have been an Instagram post. You know, if they'd have been there at that time, the goats would have been in their car on the way home. Now, you know the Super Bowl just happened. Congratulations, Kansas City Chiefs. However, did you know in Philadelphia that they use all kinds of techniques to keep people from climbing up light poles and everything else after Super Bowls? You know, celebrating whatever they're doing. Well, this company offered something very interesting. Company offers Whiz-infused lube to keep Philly fans from climbing during the Super Bowl. An adult entertainment company is offering the city of Philadelphia 1,540 gallons of Cheese Whiz-infused lubricant to prevent Eagles fans from climbing poles after the Super Bowl. Cam Soda said a truck loaded with 28 drums of lube containing 55 gallons is being sent to the city to help prevent the famously rowdy crowds fans from climbing street lights, traffic lights, utility poles, and other structures if their team wins Sunday's game against the Kansas City Chiefs. But then again, since they didn't win, sometimes they just riot, so. The company said each drum contains 75% lubricant and 25% cheese whiz, a signature ingredient in the city's famous Philadelphia cheesesteaks. Philadelphia has famously used substances including Crisco and hydraulic fluid to grease up public bowls in advance of big sporting events. Here at Cam Soda, we know the people of Philly love the Eagles, cheesesteaks, and whiz. We wanted to lend a helping hand to the Philly fanatics who have been known to take to the streets to celebrate a huge sports victory, including dangerously scaling light poles, Darren Parker, Vice President of Cam Soda, said in a news release. To protect Raucous Eagles fans from themselves, we wanted to hand-deliver truck full of lube mixed with some delicious cheese whiz to grease the light poles in and around the city. Lube proves to be more difficult to scale than Crisco, he said. It is not clear, as of Thursday of last week, whether Philadelphia officials did accept the offering. And of course, there is no link. Sorry about that. Children can get into some of the most interesting predicaments, can't they? Pennsylvania firefighters remove cake pan from 2-year-old's head. Firefighters in Pennsylvania conducted an unusual rescue when a 2-year-old girl got her head stuck in an angel food cake pan. Erin Mexel of Mifflin County said her daughter Quinley was playing with an angel food pan that had its middle section removed when she put the pan over her head and it became stuck. She kind of wore it like a shawl around her shoulders till the firemen got there. She was a trooper. She was still able to eat and drink while she had this on around her mother told WGAL-TV. Mexel called 911 and firefighters from the Junction Fire Company in Lewistown were summoned to the home. The firefighters used 10 snips to cut through the pan and free the toddler. The fire company shared photos from the unusual rescue on Facebook. Mexel said her daughter takes after her. When she was a child, she required her own rescue when her legs became stuck in a plastic chair. And apparently, this is a family trait. All right, guys, that is it for today's podcast. I know they've been short and sweet lately, so, we'll just deal with that as we go. And, of course, today is Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to you all. Now the reading devotional comes from Amazing Grace. This is a book that I purchased at Ollie's quite a long time ago. I do not believe that it is still available, but you never know. It is Ollie's. Good and perfect. Whatever is good and perfect is a gift coming down to us from God, our Father, who created all the lights in the heavens. He never changes or casts a sifting shadow. This comes from James 1:17, the New Living Translation. Take the next few moments to pause and consider all the good, all the beauty in your life. You may be in a season that makes this easy, or perhaps now is a time that doesn't feel particularly good and perfect. Peonies in June, the wink of a quarter moon, loving and being loved. These are gifts from God. Your Father is a good Father, a giver of good gifts. This doesn't change, even when your circumstances do. What good and perfect gifts have you received from the Father lately? And that is it for today's devotional. Go out there and be a blessing to someone. As always, be kind. Love one another. Get out there and see this big, beautiful world we live in. I know here in Pennsylvania it's supposed to be like almost in the 70s tomorrow for at least one day, and then we go back to the cold. All right, folks, see you again next week. Bye.